What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and it's Top 10 Thursday. Making a good sequel is extremely hard. You want things to be better than the original, but also different enough to keep fans interested. Sometimes developers take this idea a little bit too far though, and make stuff that is truly crazy. This week we're taking a special look at that, the projects that are the most bizarre, on my list of the top 10 weirdest video game sequels. Number 10. Silent Hill 4. This series started out being the master of psychological horror, that is until they badly lost their way. This game is oddly the only entry in the franchise that doesn't even really take place in Silent Hill. Instead, we play as Henry, a quiet man who lives alone in a small apartment. One day he wakes up to find mysterious chains have completely wrapped around his front door. No matter how long or how loud he screams, no one can hear him. He's totally trapped. Soon Henry discovers a hole in his bathroom that lets him teleport to other locations and fight weird monsters. This title is so disconnected from the rest of the amazing games that most fans other than me absolutely hated it. Maybe next time actually set the story inside your famous town. Number 9. Yaiba Ninka Gaiden Z. When it comes to brutally fast, action-packed gameplay, you can always trust Ninka Gaiden to provide tons of epic, blood-filled scenes. Yaiba unfortunately took the sword-swinging series into a bit of a random direction though. The graphics are now cel-shaded, our plot takes place in a modern-era Russia, and rather than defeating demons or something, we're tasked with slaying zombies. To make it even weirder, we're a robot ninja, which honestly makes no sense. Almost none of this is explained in any way, which leads some to think that this was probably intended to be a new slasher title, and at the last minute they just changed its name to Ninka Gaiden. The further I got into this experience, the more it made me miss the classic gory missions of Ryu Hayabusa. Number 8. Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures. How do you make a follow-up to arguably the most legendary arcade game of all time? Apparently, you turned into an RPG. If that seems like a confusing choice, don't worry, you're not alone. This project puts us in the shoes of our yellow hero, showing us what his normal life is like. We walk around taking care of small tasks, like finding milk for his kid, or going to slightly freaky pack parties. The controls are like a retro point-and-click game, having you just tap on things you want him to check out and waiting for him to inspect it. Perhaps what caught me the most off guard is that occasionally you'll get transported into a 70s-style machine to play a level of the original Pac-Man. Why would you bother putting this in a sequel if your whole objective was changing the genre of the series? Number 7. Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Growing up, I totally missed playing both of the Banjo Kazooies when they first came out. I was so busy with Mario 64 I accidentally avoided these perfect platformers. When I heard they were making a game for the Xbox 360, I had to check into it. To put this the nicest way possible, Nuts and Bolts is pretty much a garbage truck on fire. No longer are we teaming up with this colorful duo as they explore the world tracking down puzzle pieces. Suddenly, all they care about is collecting car parts and constructing the ultimate vehicle to win races. I genuinely don't understand how an idea this dumb was approved by their company. Maybe somebody was just drunk in the office and had a deadline and went, screw it, let's just shove a Lego game and Mario Kart together and see what happens. The final product is so bad that it essentially killed any plans of ever doing another title in this franchise. Number 6. Star Fox Adventures. When the universe needs saving, there's only one squad of jet pilots brave enough and with the required skills to take on any intergalactic threat. The Star Fox series started way back on the Super Nintendo and literally redefined how people saw flying combat. With each new entry we got, they managed to grow and improve these mid-air battle mechanics to make it even more fun. Sadly, for his Gamecube debut, he isn't soaring through the skies anymore, but stuck on a tiny, primitive planet. In order to rescue the weird talking animals who live here, Fox must travel the land searching for magical power crystals and beating things up with his staff. That's right, I nearly forgot to mention that all we have to defend ourselves is really sloppy close quarters fighting. All of this comes together to make a title that isn't terrible, it just doesn't fit in with the rest of the series in any way. Do us all a favor, Fox, and from now on, stay in your damn ship. Number 5. Dino Crisis 3. Developers have spent years trying to figure out the best way to handle survival horror. As a genre, it's one of the more difficult to make because you need players to be scared, but also to give them big guns to feel slightly safer at times and keep them moving forward. Dino Crisis is a series that attempted to walk the line between silly Jurassic Park-ish storytelling and hardcore struggles for your life, and surprisingly they nailed this balance. While the first and second games were very focused, only taking place in creepy laboratories laboratories in roughly the modern time period, for this third title, they went to the distant future. We're taking on the role of soldiers sent to investigate an abandoned ship floating near Jupiter. Upon boarding the vessel, they discover that in some experiment gone wrong, the computer AI that runs the vessel has started cloning dinosaurs that have gotten loose and eaten the crew. Using our fancy high-tech shotguns and really goofy jump jets, we can zip around these ancient targets to defeat them. That is if you just don't die from your brain being melted by how absurd this game really is. Number 4. The Third Birthday. If you've never seen or heard of the Parasite Eve games, they were a brilliant mix of real science and great third-person shooting. The main character, Aya, is a detective in New York who uncovers a huge mystery involving super-evolved creatures that are looking to wipe out all life on Earth so that they can be the dominant species. In The Third Birthday, they decide to go in perhaps the weirdest direction ever for a sequel. In this, Aya's lost her memories, but when monsters start appearing in cities and consuming the people who live there, she knows that she needs to get back to work. Here's the bizarre twist though. Instead of just facing them directly, we get into a device that lets us send our consciousness into the past and try and stop the events before they can even happen. We get to be at ground zero of all the worst massacres of these beasts and hop from body to body until we can figure out a way to halt their invasion, thus creating a better world in the modern day. Seriously, I gotta ask, who the hell came up with such a purely insane plot? Number 3. Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII. Designing a well-thought-out sequel is an incredibly complex issue. Usually the fans want more of what they already loved, but with some major new elements to make it feel fresh. Essentially what I'm saying is never do what Dirge of Cerberus did. Our story opens 3 years after the epic ending of Final Fantasy VII, showing us a world in the middle of trying to rebuild. Suddenly, a new enemy comes out of nowhere in the form of an organization that calls itself Deep Ground. These technologically advanced soldiers have made their goal clear. They plan on summoning a powerful, ageless being known as Omega to destroy every city on the planet and leave us in ruin. That's when the vampire Vincent flies into action to make sure they don't accomplish this. As you can see by this gameplay, they turned one of the greatest RPGs in history into a really bland, over-the-shoulder shooter. I hate to admit this, but the controls are absolute trash, and the overall dialogue must not have been translated right because I can hardly tell what anyone is saying. They're evil clones, experimental gods, and unfortunately not much of the original Final Fantasy heroes that we enjoyed so much. Number 2. Metroid Other M. Way back on the first Nintendo console, we got introduced to a woman named Samus. This spacefaring bounty hunter earns her paychecks by working together with the military to carry out impossibly dangerous objectives that are considered too risky for normal humans to go on. Using her mechanized suit and bionic upgrades, she's ready to handle any monster in the universe. Because of her overwhelming strength, it was really annoying when Other M came out and they made her look like a total idiot. Previously in this series, we've seen her go weeks without direct contact to command, but still be able to calculate the best course of action. Whether it be battling devastating Metroids or giant dragons, she never rests, except for in this game. For some reason, she agrees to just blindly follow this new army's orders, even when it's actually bad for her health. We're also forced to endure long, droning talks where Samus explains how hard it was growing up without parents and being raised as a killing machine. I wouldn't be bothered by this shift in tone if it at least somewhat fit with the rest of the franchise, but it really doesn't. This sort of feels like a side-scrolling soap opera where all the greatest warriors alive decide to sit down and have a passionate discussion about emotions rather than standing up and blasting the creatures that want them dead. Number 1. Shadow the Hedgehog. When your franchise starts getting stale, as a game developer you face a major choice. Do you attempt to reinvent your characters and go in a bold new direction, or do you just make a really weird sequel with one of the villains being a good guy? Well, if it's the people over at Sega, I think you can guess which option they chose. Shadow the Hedgehog focuses on the adventure of Sonic's evil counterpart as he travels the globe seeking the Chaos Emeralds to trade them to some spooky aliens. Along the way, he's slowly regaining his memories since he randomly has amnesia, and he's remembering exactly what led him to start this journey originally. Throughout the story, there are branching paths that let us pick who we want to side with, but no matter what, we're going to be stealing cars, shooting weapons, and generally doing activities that positively should not be in any Sonic game. I think we can all agree that this abomination probably should have been cancelled. For its off-the-wall gameplay, strange as hell plot, and cringy cutscenes, I'm awarded this my choice as the weirdest video game sequel. Did your favorite game not make the list? Got an idea for a future top 10? Leave it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Somebody's using a power saw right outside my office. What the hell? I hope you guys don't hear that. Well, if you do, I apologize. Look at the shirt I'm wearing. It has every controller ever on it. Like it's got the maracas from Samba de Amigo and the weird movement controls. Look, there's like the Enforcer. It's like that giant blue gun. Very cool stuff. Very cool. Screw power saws. You know, I'm going to go get in a fist fight with that guy. No, I'm not. Thanks for watching. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, maybe check out my last video. Please subscribe, and if you want, share this somewhere with your friends.